everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 6 of coloring Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'll actually move my camera a bit in hopes that I can sort of give myself more room to work. Although I feel like I've been counterproductive, because I think I would prefer things to be here, so I'm just going to try and move this without making people nauseous. Just a little bit. Alright. So we were going to do that mountain. Because the last time we did the rest of the valley and sort of started blobbing in places. Also concluded that I use the word blob way too many times, but I'm just gonna start on that. I already have some greens at the ready for, well, the green areas, like I think that part of a tree in this area, which is gonna be a bit tricky, I think, but there's greens in there as well. So I'll just start with that and see how far we get. Now, what was this? This was the 065 of the Pablos. So I'm just going to grab my list and sort of, that would be that. Because we were kind of going into that with the, yeah, that actually is the good one. And then maybe the hazel to just dull it a little bit. So these will be the two. I'll just start, I think, with creating some definition with this darker one. Also had a little time to check my order, because as I mentioned in the previous part, I'm just gonna probably come back pretty soon. So real time, it's just an hour between part 5 and 6. So I feel like I'm losing count. Like I'm coming in here and I'm like, is this part 6 or 7 or 5 or just not making it easy on myself. I do write it down though. So there's a little piece of paper that actually says 6, just because it would be kind of weird going to part 5 after we've just done part 5. Alright, now I should probably stop making too many blobs. Should also stop using the word blob, but alright. That's a lot of, oh, what is it, orange or brown or orange brown or brown orange? Alright, now I'm gonna go into some green. And for this I already had, I think, the olive and the olive gray. Yes, my memory is good. I'm just gonna pretend that I remembered that all this time between part 5 and 6. So the olive gray is actually like the brighter one, which you wouldn't really notice by looking at the barrels, but I'm just gonna sort of, because I feel, are we in the screen yet? So this is kind of the part that I want to do, like, I mean, I could just say, like, end this here, but I feel like it would help if people actually know what I'm pointing at. Now, these, I feel, should be, I'm just going to go for chestnut. I can quickly find it. Is this chestnut? Oh, yeah. So that is number 57. I'm just going to sort of, I want a very good point. Now, you'd say that is a good point, but see, that is just, you probably can't see it, but also kind of hope that I found a way to be editing out the part where I'm sharpening. I mean, I think I'm on editing. I just did that, like, I took a little hour in between 5 and 6. Had myself a little hot cocoa. because the weather is still very okay for hot cocoa. It's still hot cocoa weather. I mean, it kind of always is, but and while I'm doing that, I just decide to, why not start editing a little bit. So I was doing that, but I think I'm not on the previous one yet, so I do try to sort of do that sharpening thing in a way so that I can just cut it out, because it would just save a lot of time, and I don't feel like it actually adds to the video a whole lot. Especially because, of course, now I have that separate sharpener and a little container that is making a lot of noise because you're kind of moving it around, making sure you don't bump it over, because that would be messy. Oh, so what's going on there? I mean, that's, ooh, I mean, I would say that's right there. This is kind of like right here, or is it here? There's like extra here. I think that is actually part of the sky, but it doesn't have to be. There's like orange behind that as well. It's confusing. I'll just add a little bit of that over there so that I don't get too confused later. Any other places where I should be adding that? Because this feels like it's a brown area. Or gray. It's a very gray area. And this is like a bit of green, but it's not all that clear that it's green, so we are in the bloppy area, the vague, misty, it's a mysterious, foggy hill, mountain, rocks. Okay, so if it is still in the grays, because I still have those lying around as well, because of course it was just an hour for me, which was the 006. I mean, I could just pretend that everyone is writing it down, but I'm not writing it down. So why would you? Well, I mean, you've seen my videos. You know you have to write it down, because I'm not going to remember. I was editing another video and I was claiming I used a color where I actually put in the screen, like, I really didn't use it though, because, I don't know, I just guess that's also the part of that whole chatting and coloring at the same time. I just get distracted and then I just start seeing things that are, you know, just nonsense basically. But, you know, as long as the coloring is still the way I want it, then I guess I am at peace with it. I guess that's what everyone's here for, I think. Or, you know, maybe by now it's already known that I do weird things. Kind of just no idea what I'm doing. Maybe that's what you're here for. I don't know. There's like that blue that I actually put away. And I've actually piled all my other colors on top of that, but I'm going to grab that 155, which we used before, because there's like random blue. I'm just going to add random blue. Oh, wait, is that over here? I don't know. Because this has got to be that, and then this has got to be that. So then this is that. So that blue is actually not even, it's like lower. I'm not sure I want to, so it's in between these, all right, blue. Random, blue, blue, blue. It's blue now. I mean, I don't even know what these blue blobs are. They're just blue blobs. All right, so that has become a little bit too clear of an orange. So I'm just gonna grab my ash gray 401 and just go over that. Again, I mean, just to see if I can push it into that fogginess a bit. I mean, everything else is kind of, well, poppy with the colors, I guess. Alright, so that, I was actually already having other colors at the ready. Because usually for greens, I do grow for my polys. Alright, there is gray around that. Or, well, beige, I guess. And that's like all debatable. Because that is that background. So I feel like I could do a little bit. Because there's like green going there. So between that orange and this green, and it kind of, well, I don't know, like this. And then there's another little bit of lumpy. We're going to the left. And then there's that swirly thing, and I'm just gonna sort of like this, I think. That looks, yeah, acceptable. So then we had, so that's the back. This is, by the way, that very dark one, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna, because this is kind of hanging over there, which seems to be with a bit of a orange kind of glow to it. So I'll just sort of create that hint of orange. So I'm guessing those are flowers. I mean, that does make sense. And then I guess I want to add a little bit of red just to make sure that that pigment is on the paper before we go into, what did I grab? The beige. Why is it that whenever I feel like it's a random pencil, it always ends up being the beige? I guess that's the most in-between kind of pencil that I have. I feel like I should go darker though. It seems like a bit of a dark area. Even around that, I mean, it's like green, debatable green is what we have here. So I'm not sure if I want to grab my Pablos for that or already go into the polys. Because if I go into the polys, I don't know, do I have an instant match in there? Permanent green. Oh, goody. What is it with me and tiny pencils? Well, those extenders should be here tomorrow. Those new ones. Because I actually found like one of them bigger sets. It's just like, why not? Why not just buy a bundle of them? I'm just gonna sort of go off script here and just be semi-random in here. Because it already like did an indication of where I want things to be. So I feel that this was gonna work. And then with that, what is like that other color? Is it the 165? Because I think I mentioned it in an earlier video that I just prefer the greens that I have in my polys. They seem to be, I don't know, more green. The others all seem to be a little bit off green. I do feel like for flowers and plants, and you just really need a green. And this green I don't even have in the other set, I think. Maybe the dark green would come close, but I feel like this is like part of the tree or something, like floating leaves. That makes no sense, but it's kind of what they look like. Alright. I feel like that can take a little bit of maybe that really, this is really dark olive, kind of, yeah, olive green yellowish. It's really dark, but I think it would actually complement that area. I mean, I could go for permanence, which I will do, just to see what the difference is and kind of create that ooh. I'm creating that ooh. It's a good color. I actually watched the part where I was coloring the castle and it's like, I feel so calm. I kind of have that right now as well. I mean, things are definitely not going my way because this is Well, I mean, they're blobs. It's like these undefined things that you're coloring, but I don't know. The process is kind of soothing somehow. Alright, so that's not for there. I think I should grab the pine green. And there's like pencils everywhere. But that's gotta be a everyone thing. Everyone does that, right? Especially because you're going back and forth. So you kind of want to put them back in some sort of order. And then you kind of realize that that was a good idea, but it's not practical. So, I don't know. It's just one big pencil explosion over here. Alright, I feel like this gives that suggestion of green. I should probably do the same over here, just add a little bit more suggestive green. And then we just go over that with the beige to kind of bring it together. Now, strangely enough, over there, there's not really any kind of green going on. I do feel like, is this a part where I could, no, it's very green. Very green means probably this one. 278. But again, this is the part where I'm really just happy that I have two sets, because I can't go this dark with my Pablos. I actually do feel like I should add a little brown to that first to make it really dark. And then just go a little lighter, because these seems to be like a bush kind of thing. Still also vague over here. I mean, that is like new to me. Coloring for a while, but a leaf would just be a leaf. Seldom have I seen them so bloppy. So this is like just that, it feels like I'm doing an abstract painting, really. It's just, it takes some getting used to. And again, I just started coloring, so I don't have a history of like drawing, or I mean, I would do some doodles every now and then, but that definitely doesn't count. That was like as a teenager, because the teacher was explaining something and you thought like, yeah, whatever. So you end up doodling. I doodled a lot. All right, now I'm back to the pine. Where have I put that juniper? Was it juniper? No. Yes, it was the juniper. All right, so now it kind of looks okay-ish, because this, again, I think I'm going to go for that suggestion that it's supposed to be green, because I still feel like it's a bit of a, yeah, it's like a mossy kind of mountain. I mean, that's what I've been doing so far, and I feel like this is a better line to divide the two. Like that fog is finally clearing once you get down that mountain, or hill, or beyond the rocks, beyond the Rocky Hill Mountains. All right. Yeah, I do definitely prefer these greens in the polys. That's what I kind of always look for when buying like an additional set. I just want to make sure that they complement each other. For me, it wouldn't make sense to buy a set of pencils that basically has the exact same colors. Alright, so now I think I'm gonna sort of get my assorted beiges. Right, so this is the brownish beige. Not sure, yeah, I do want to go for that. Just to create a little bit of depth, maybe? Or the idea, the suggestion. It's kind of what it all is. It's just very suggestive coloring. but the rest of these foggy hill, rocky mountains, they did turn out okay, so there's no reason that this part is going to turn out any different. And I know that. I mean, the process, I keep doubting myself, but I do know that in the end, I'm going to be quite happy with how it looks. It just takes forever. Might be interesting to actually see that. Like actually struggling from getting from A to B. Well, in the end, you know, it just kind of looks okay. I mean, I was going through the same thing on the previous page, but looking at it, you don't really see that. Well, I feel like you don't. Wow, this is actually sort of okay. Not sure why I colored it green to begin with, but this is kind of really pushing that back, isn't it? Kind of making it suggestive like I wanted it to be. And now I'm just going to go over that with, what did I grab? Ash gray. Yeah, I could do that. Create that fogginess. Again, I have no idea what the progress is going to be. I do feel like I should get at least this side done and move into something else. What that something else is going to be, I don't know. I mean, I have selected multiple greens, but again, you know, I do want to keep my eye on the time. I think I'd rather have it that people, you know, who are really like going with the flow, that they just have to start the new video, the next video. I mean, once it's there, because I think I'll be uploading them pretty quick. I mean, I already got editing to, I think I'm on 4 right now, so, you know, I'm close to what I'm doing today. Oh, that is looking interesting. And it's kind of like creating your own kind of hill. Now, I've been using these on the other part, so I used this to kind of add suggestive green. So I think I'm going to do that over here too, to create that mossy feeling that I also went for on the other side. I'm not sure what I want to do with that, but it's like zooming in on all the wrong things, isn't it? But I do want to sort of keep everything in that screen. I feel like that makes more sense. Because sometimes I'm just pointing at things, and I feel like if I wash maybe that blue or that light gray. Alright, so I got that light gray and that light beige. Yeah, I might just go for that light beige, because they are very similar. You know, because I feel like, I mean, right now I'm coloring and I'm just pointing, like, I think that is, you know, and I don't know, I just feel like it makes more sense if you can actually see what I see. Even though, you know, if you are coloring along and you have that reference picture yourself, just add some sort of brown bloppiness to it. That is very bloppy, but so you mix it in and it's no longer bloppy. Need some something, a little something over there. Kind of like cooking. I need a pinch of salt and a pinch of brown. Although when I cook, I usually don't add pinches of brown. I mean, what is that even? Right. So I feel like we are slowly getting there. And I'm kind of going to go over that green as well, just to dull it. This is, I think, the beige again. Somehow keep ending up with that beige in my hands. It's not sure why. It seems to be my favorite color at the moment. Like every time I pick up a random pencil, it's the beige. I don't know if it's really gonna look all that good. It's kind of like abstract painting or something. I don't think I'm good at that. And I just want to know what I'm kind of drawing and or coloring, and I feel like in this area it's quite literally all very foggy. So, right, so there was like this orange swirl over there, but I'm just gonna add that. Like, I feel like that orange swirl would do kind of good over here, eh? That looks, yeah, acceptable. Very. Now just a little bit suggestive green again, because this is gonna add, I think, a bit of a, like that feeling that there's green, because I did that over there too, and it's not too dominant, I think. What's this? This is my brownish beige. This is not me wondering what pencil I picked up. I just figured, you know, if I want to enable people to color along. I mean, again, I sort of don't want people to exactly do that, which is why in the first few, you know, I spent a lot of time playing with my swatches and just kind of showing how I pick my colors, just so that, you know, when you have your own set, you kind of have an idea of how I do it. I mean, of course, if you haven't made swatches, then you can't do that, but definitely make swatches. You should. I didn't do that when I first got pencils, and I had like this piece of paper where I was always scribbling. Until I thought, why don't I scribble once and get it over with? Be done with it. I do actually have another set here, which I'm not using because they are very different from what I'm using now. They are very soft pencils. Well, whether they are hard or soft kind of depends on what you're used to, because I would consider these soft compared to some other pencils that I've been using, but compared to most, I do think these are a bit on the harder side, which is why I bought them, because I just love details. I mean, that castle, I was so happy coloring that castle. It was just nothing but details. Alright, ash gray. Probably to see if I can wrap this hill up. Because, I don't know, I mean, it doesn't look... Well, it looks a bit too sectioned off. Well, I guess that has that a bit. But now I think I could use that mouse gray. But I just want to find... Yeah, mouse gray would probably work, or maybe a brown, like a darker brown, or maybe both. I already have a darker brown here, so. No, I think some people would consider these soft and others would consider them hard, but I think generally speaking, these are harder pencils to work with. Well, as in, their softness is not there, they are hard pencils. I don't think they're necessarily hard to color with. I kind of jumped right into polys and no, I just gotten used to them, so I think it's a preference thing. I just like the fact that I could really get a sharp point on them and it won't instantly break. So that when I'm working on fiddly bits, like castles or things like that, I just really enjoy that. Because I like coloring inside the lines as much as possible. I mean, that's why you do a coloring page. Well, that's why I do a coloring page, to just color it in. So I would like to just stay in the lines as much as possible. I feel like I'm going very scratchy at the moment. Which might just be the pencil, or it could just be me being careless, or maybe it's the lighting again. I actually sort of disconnected one of my lamps in the previous video. Because they're like clamped to my desk, but one of those is like on a really small little part of the desk. So when I was moving it to adjust the light, I ended up with that thing. I was just holding it in my hand. I just kind of ripped it off. This definitely was not my plan, but I guess I got a bit enthusiastic. I ended up holding the damn thing. So I actually had to find something else to sort of connect it to. Put a kettlebell on top of it, and we should be good for now. We're still on the screen, yes, we kind of are. Alright. Now, on the last one, well, I mean, I have a blending stump. This one actually has some yellow on it, but that should not be a problem. I just feel like I can maybe get that scratchiness away. I'm not really all that used to blending stumps, so yeah. On top of that, I think I've already burnished it quite a bit, so this is where solvents would probably work better, but as I mentioned before, going over everything with a light color, which we have been doing so far, because we have done that there. But light colors, I don't know, I feel like generally speaking, these lighter colors, they seem to be a bit more creamy. Where's this cream? The cream is more creamy. That's the way I feel anyways. I mean, I just spent half an hour on this, I think. Just goes to show how much time goes into these things. But it's not a race. Well, there are like pages online, like in YouTube colorings as well, so I guess you can kind of compare other people's times, but they weren't coloring this one, so I guess there's no real way of telling whether or not I'm fast or slow, but that's not really what I'm going for. I'm not going for fast, I'm just going for that final result. That's got to be good, and whether I do that in 15 or 20 hours, I don't know. I mean, it would mean there's a lot of parts to this, well, color and chat / color alone, but I mean, that looks good. I mean, it kind of, I'm just gonna try and not destroy my lights this time, but it looks like it's part of that, you know, it's like in the same valley. Looks like it could be related, but it also looks, I don't know, a bit more intense, I guess. So it does look like it's more to the front. So I was gonna go into, well, I gotta do the tree thingy, where I do feel like I should probably start adding some brown first. Now I had that umber for that. I can do that with my polys. I think I'm gonna grab a brown from my polys so that I like to use just one brand at the time. I know I can mix and match, but this has a darker version as well. I think I would like the 176. Is that a long one? Alright, so I'm just gonna do a little bit like in between these, because we have decided to turn this just into part of the leaves. As you can see, it's not exactly a very dark brown, but that's okay because we're just using it to kind of darken the green that's going to come in later. Because if we go too dark, I mean, it would just kind of melt into that mountain, merge, which is not what I'm going for. Now this is definitely still part of it. I mean, I feel like things are so off sometimes, but you know, that's again because this one is bigger than that one. Still have all these mountain colors lying around, but that's good. That way if I need them. Alright, so for this I'm probably gonna go for pine green. Is this the pine green? I can't wait to get that new sharpener. It's just every time I have to go like off screen so I can just get that sharpening part out in editing, because it's just really annoying because I actually have to grab a container to drop it in. Because again, I have like these very simple handheld sharpeners. So the one that I'm getting actually has one of those compartments that will collect all the rubble. Is it rubble? The pencil rubble. It just sounds kind of okay, doesn't it? Collect the pencil rubble. I feel like this is like way lighter, but I want to just make it look like it's part of that tree. Because it's like, is it this or that? It's debatable. But I decided that it's part of the tree that you cannot see. Wow. We go in there again. 2, 7, 8. Just give that a little light layer, because I feel like the color that I'm going to use next is going to be way too light. And I don't want that. I could always go over it at some point with some gray, I guess, or another brown, because I have noticed that if you want to create that darkness in a green, that brown really helps. All right, now I'm into 2, 6, 6, which is a very green, and again a very short one, short enough to drop it somewhere. All right, I do feel I shouldn't go too overboard with this. This might be the lightest color I want to put in here. So I'll just kind of start at the top and then work my way to everything else, so that I can create like a smooth transition. I mean, this is kind of like underneath each other, so now normally I would get my pencil extender, but because it's just small areas, I feel like I just want to save myself the trouble. It's just everything pencil is so time consuming. Now this is the permanent green olive, which is still a lighter one, but it feels like it could be a nice way to sort of dull everything a bit. I could just go over this with some other color to just kind of push it into the background, I think. I do feel like this page is becoming more and more fun, because you're actually kind of seeing progress. So that's good. And then again, I'm still uploading. I think as we speak, just part 1 is up. And I don't know, I just don't want to upload too fast, because it might be every other day though. That might be what I'll be doing. I'm not sure. I do feel like, you know, if you're there early and you want to color along, it would be kind of frustrating if it takes weeks. It's just, you know, I always have like one ready to go. So actually part 2 is ready already, and I think I've already started editing the third one as well. It's done, I just haven't saved it yet, because, well, that just takes too much of my phone, which means it wouldn't be, I don't know if that would affect recording, so that's why I'm not doing that right now. All right, now that came out very bright, so I'm just going to go over that with the cream again, just to see if I can push it back a little. I mean, there might be ways to do this up front, probably color lightly, but that is not my thing. I always end up with these very intense colors, and it's just the way I like it. Kind of like, you know, we all have our way. I like to call those my default settings. It's just, you know, how I do things. I can maybe just go up and down a bit and go blurry, blurry. Right now, this is going to be interesting because that is very dark. I would almost suggest grabbing some grays, which it could be either grays or warm gray. Here you go. This is it. No, dark. What is that? Sepia 175. Can I just move this a little bit and just hope that it turns out alright? Now there's these things that kind of look like they could be twigs. So I'm just going to color parts of it because I'll be going over that with my green afterwards. Make it look like a very dark green. There's a thing there. I always find these parts a bit like tricky, but in other pages I found that if you just go for a brown first, somehow makes that green just look better. So I want to do parts like a really bit more of a deeper brown, and with like lighter sections in between, make it more alive, I guess. And also give that suggestion of it being more like twigs, or what do you call it? See, I'm all zenning out again. I just love fiddly bits. I just do. I don't know why. I mean, for some people it just really annoys them, you know, it's like coloring relaxes, but you know, some people just do not get relaxed by details, and I love details. It kind of just really makes you focus, which I kind of like that. Something just pulling my complete attention towards it. Guess that also means that I'll be rambling a lot less. So I guess that's a good thing too. Because I've been editing and of course watching, I repeat myself a lot. Or I just start talking about something and just stop. Because, you know, I was picking a color or something like that. So it's just ramblings and repeatings. Well, on the other hand, you know, if I repeat something now that I said in part 1, I guess that wouldn't be too bad. Especially if you're coloring along, you might not actually hear everything. You'd be too focused on your own page. Alright, so now at the bottom, I feel like it should go a little dark. I guess you could say we're applying like medium pressure here. Why is my stomach being annoying again? Why am I always hungry? Why do I always get the munchies while I color? What is that? It's like I don't eat. I mean, I do. I usually do right before I color. And then my stomach is kind of like, yes, but can we do it again? Can we please eat again? Well, not right now. That would really be a unpleasant color and chat. Me just chewing something in the background. I know, because when I got my mic, I actually like tested it first. I just decided to do a little test run, like how's the sound, and you know, do I really have to scream into the mic? No, just regular testy thingy. So I was actually chewing gum while I was testing. Yeah, you do kind of hear that every now and then, but I actually kind of hear everything with this. You know, I just got like a basic setup just to get me started. Because I figured if I'm going to do color and chat, then it would be okay if you can actually hear the chatting and not everything that goes on in this room, because it's echoey. What was this? So this is that really dark one. The one where I really love my polys, because it's dark. And again, these I've already kind of faded because I did leave those out. Usually when I'm done, I just put them in the tin with the pencils, because mine all have the original packaging. I have been looking into those fancy gift pack thingies, but I don't have room for that. So then when I'm coloring, I wouldn't have the room to actually put my pencils anywhere, so I figured that would be, you know, would be shiny and it looks kind of awesome, but then I'd still be buying something else to use. I don't know if I've really gotten into my pencil journey, but I mean, I have mentioned that I started very cheap. It was like €8 for 72 pencils. And then I got to Facebook, because I did join Facebook groups pretty early on, just to see if I could get like an opinion. You know, see what other people say, because you yourself think like, oh, this looks kind of good. And, yeah, I guess you just want to double check or something. But yeah, very early on, I actually just searched for adult coloring. I was like, whoa, that's a thing. That's a big thing. And then on these groups, I mean, you very quickly get introduced to the polys and, well, the polys mostly. Oh yeah, and the Prisma, they get named a lot too. But I'm just seeing so many stories about that. Like the breaking and, well, mostly the cores just not being centered, and stories about, well, if you put them in the oven or if you put them in the microwave, like, what? I mean, they're not cheap pencils. Why would you have to put them in the microwave? Why can't they just, so, I don't know, I mean, there might be people who have a good experience with it, but I mean, just reading all these people having trouble with them, I was like, alright, so those are not the ones I want. So yeah, I ended up with the polys. But you know, they are kind of, well, they're not cheap, let's just put it that way. Again, my first set was like €8 for 72. I don't know what the polys are now, because I actually all bought them, well, most of them separate, because I first got, because my first set was a 36, because I just wanted to get started. I was like, well, I need good pencils anyways, I'll just get 36, because I looked at the other sets and I was like, yeah, you know, you want a decent amount of pencils to kind of get you started, I guess. So I went for the 36, and then that was right before I started doing like Christmas colorings and whatnot, because I got my polys pretty early on. Like I started coloring with pencils in October, and well, early October I started, and later that month I already ordered that 36 set, so Christmas coloring was coming up, so I kind of just looked at the coloring pages that I had for Christmas, I guess, and just looked like what colors do I think I need and which one of those are missing from my set. So that was like the first addition I did to the 36. But yeah, I basically ended up buying them all separate. Had to order the rest of all those pencils afterwards. Alright, so that is very light. And I'm pretty sure I went for yes, which is again tiny. So yeah, I had the 36, and then I had to sort of figure out what I needed, got those, and you know, basically that's how I got the entire set, by just trying to figure out what I was gonna need, like what am I really missing from the set that I have now. And that's how in the end I got them all, including the metallic ones. I mean, I don't even use them. I'm not sure why, but it was just like I will have them all except for 3, and you know, that just, yeah, I don't know, that felt a bit weird too, so I just got those 2. Not because I actually wanted them, but because it completes the set. You know, that counts for something. And then, sheer luck, I actually found a place where they sell the empty, what is it, the tins? Which I like, because I mean, you have the complete set, and then I was kind of struggling, like, what am I going to put them in? So just to have the original packaging, that makes me so happy. I don't know what that is, but also having to buy all of those separately. That also gave me the idea when I was actually looking into buying other pencils. I mean, first up, I looked at what do I need? What do I feel like I'm missing? What would be an addition to what I have? Because I mean, I could get like a pencil set with the exact same pencils but just different brand. I just felt like that would be, yeah, that wouldn't be for me. I just wanted it to be really adding to what I have. I mean, especially now when I need all these different colors, I do feel like this combination for me is confirmed as a rather good choice, because they do complement each other. I don't know if they did that on purpose. Maybe. Probably not. I don't know if these sets actually kind of base their colors on what another brand is doing. I mean, I could say competition, but I mean, that's kind of up to them to decide how they see the other brand. I mean, they both have their qualities, like the polys with their greens, and maybe with some other colors too, but I mean, for now, I'm mostly working with the greens and the browns, and there they complement each other, because the greens that the poly set has, I feel like they are missing from the Pablos, but you know, the Pablos have some interesting browns that were actually the reason for me to get the 120 set of Pablos. But I went straight for the 120 because I just didn't want to go through getting all those pencils separately again, because when you can do it that way, it's just not ideal necessarily. I think I bought 3 separate pencils first just to see if they were really all that, because I think I was already ordering polys again. That was not to complete the set, but to sort of replace certain pencils. So a lot of pencils that are very short right now, I'm not too worried about because I have the replacements already. I guess it's very easy to plan ahead. does depend on maybe where you live. Because, I mean, where I live, there's just no shop nearby, so can't really just go, oh no, my pencil, I need a new one, let's just go to the store. I mean, I can't do that where I live. Actually, I have to get in the car and drive a bit further. So just ordering online is just makes more sense for me to do it that way. All right, so I'm gonna go for pine actually, because I used that. What is it, 278 on that? I want it to be different. I do just want to keep coloring this. This page is becoming more and more fun. But yeah, I think I just had that entire story of my completion of pencils. I do have what I like to call mid-budget, because people call them low budget, but again, I have a set of 72, which cost me €8. I also have a set of 120 that cost around 50, which I guess is considered low budget for most, but compared to the €8 I paid for the other set, which were actually 4 sets, but I mean, if you compare it, look at it that way, I feel like you have low budget and mid budget and high budget, and basically the €50 is not, yeah, I call that mid budget, because still, you know, that's not for everyone. Not everyone can just say, you know what, I want them, I will buy them now. Although, the other set that I have, you know, the €8, many people have €8 lying around. I mean, there is still a big difference. I mean, for the same money, I mean, I can get those pencils 5 times, so compared to what I would like to call mid-budget. But those were kind of awesome though, because I had that 36 set of polys, but I already figured, you know, like, I'm gonna need more, but I didn't really have the money to get the entire set, so I thought I'll just get one of those mid-budget ones. That way, you know, I have all the colors. They will be, well, somewhat decent. Because actually those cheaper ones I had, they were so scratchy. It was not fun at all to color with those. So they actually kind of helped me. So everything I felt like I was missing from my polys, which was quite a lot back then, because I only had 36 of them. But I could kind of complement that with the other set I have, which is, by the way, the Castle Art set. Yeah, I still don't hate them. They are a lot softer. So they kind of just, they're way more creamy. And for some reason they just smell. It's really like, I don't know, call it like a paint smell. Maybe if you leave the box open for a while, then you'll be okay, but I open my box and it's just so smelly. Alright, now this, I feel like it's like too out there, so I'm gonna use that permanent green olive. A name, maybe just sort of get that a bit smoother, because now it looks like it's too shouty. Is that a thing? Just dull it a bit. I mean, we are going towards, we are out of the background now, so that's good. Now that, I mean, I do feel like I should probably stop, but on the other hand, I do not want to make this like a 20-part video thing. Alright, these rocks, I can do that. I was actually like talking about that in the previous one. I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, not a whole lot of coloring in this one, actually. I do feel like I'm just going to go for a base layer with that earth green, which I do not have. Again, here we go. I do not have that here. Maybe for the next one, I'm just going to grab my castle arch just to kind of show, because that one does have like this color and actually has darker versions of it as well. So basically, you know, it's kind of like one set. Sure, you could do with one set. I mean, you don't need to collect them all. You really don't. But, you know, some people are better at blending than I am. So, you know, they would look at this color and be like, you can just make that. And I'm sure if I took my time, I can figure out how to do that as well. But that kind of sounds like I don't want to take my time to do that, does it? Alright, so this is kind of creating that green feel to it. Just putting that right back. I feel like I don't need that anymore. But I am going to go back into those colors. Just to, oh wait, it's a very gray kind of. I'm just going to go into grays right now. And is that a little bit of rock too, right? And we have that looks kind of, I'm just going to make this a little bit of a rocky thing too. I'm just going to have to really go in there. I mean, I might not be, or I'm just going to see if I can sort of, see, I love this. I really do. This is so fiddly. Brings the zen out. I do feel like it's a bit of a debatable kind of area, so I'm just gonna go lightly in there. I mean, that's kind of. I'll just make it like that. I don't know. It's also, it's vague. Like I said, you know, we definitely are not on the easy part of the page. Definitely not. But, you know, once we're done, and we kind of do the rest. So, you know, maybe it's a good thing that we started at the part where maybe things are a bit harder. That way, all we have to look forward to is fun, fun, fun. Because this is kind of demanding. But that's okay. I mean, that's why we bought the book. I did anyways. And I'm sure, you know, there's people who would just color this and keep it simple. I mean, it's your page. You color it your way. I like to try and really copy that original, which is already kind of not working out. All right, I need a very dark gray kind of. That is the 407. Is this the 407? Yes. Because we're gonna sort of make. Yeah, I feel like I should just sort of start adding a little bit over here so that I can see for myself, like, just like an indication for myself where I'm gonna want to go to. I'm just gonna add the same color into this, because over here I'm probably gonna do the same as I did right there to create that suggestion of it being a very dark green. Over here, you know, it has to be those rocks, but these are like in the front. So I feel like I can add more detail to it. Again, I have one of those indentations. I really feel like maybe I'm going to want to add another piece of paper behind this before I continue to the next part. Because I mean, right now I'm just over here. But this does kind of prove that point that I was trying to make, you know. Even if you're coloring with pencil, you can definitely affect that next page. Alright, so now I'm gonna definitely have to go right. Light. Ash gray, I think. Did I get it? I got the ash gray. And it's just kind of... I mean, I don't want to be ruining that next page. Top of my head. I think that was like something mermaid. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of conflicting for me too, because I think I looked their names up already, but that wasn't the English version, so that's really not helpful. But I will find it. This is that poly again, that color that was definitely nowhere to be found in the Pablo set. I just really love how they complement each other like that. So two different brands just going hand in hand. Alright, now I'm just gonna brush. I don't know, I do feel, what if I just turn that light off for a little bit? Alright, I feel like I can go maybe a little darker, but I have to do that with a brown, like a brownish beige, so that's the 404. I feel like I'm becoming way more organized now too, like I'm actually naming my colors more and more, so that's good. We were already in part 6, so I don't know how you've been able to keep up with me in the first few ones, but you know. Again, you know, I'm still learning. This is like the first series with pencils that I'm doing. Didn't quite pick easy books, so alright. I feel like this looks good. And I still have all these. Ooh, you can just see that that light is extreme. But yeah, that looks, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and call it acceptable. I mean, this is looking more like it's in the front, so I feel maybe I could go for that side. There's already flowers in there, so maybe I should just do this bit, and then we are probably gonna call it again. So for this in the background, I feel I should probably get that dark indigo. And I did say in that last video that I kind of cut that short because I was afraid that if I would continue, it would probably become way too lengthy. Which is why I kind of might actually become the shortest one, or turn out to be the shortest one. I mean, I don't know because I'm still coloring. So I haven't done part, I don't know how many parts it's going to be. I don't even have an indication for that yet. Although a lot, that much I am quite sure of, that it's going to be a lot. Fiddly bit. I just decided to stop talking too much at the fiddly bits because this was really something else. I mean, I've had detailed pictures before, but this is I like it. I really do enjoy that insane amount of detail. That's just... These books are made for me. Alright, so this kind of seems like it could be... Yeah, I mean, this has got to be... Alright, let me just... This is that, and this, I feel, is part of that too. So I'm just gonna sort of hopefully, those are so small. And if you have like a gel pen or something, you can go back to it. But again, I'm not exactly a hoarder of coloring supplies, so I do have quite a bit. But I think I do actually have a few gel pens, but those are like probably the crappiest of the crappy. I mean, half of them don't even work. I mean, that's kind of the sad thing with a lot of cheap alternatives. I mean, I have like micron pens, but they just came in, well, packaging, because that's how you buy them. But I actually ended up buying a very cheap set of fine liners, because it came with like a case. Nice little, I think it's like a soft nylon kind of case. But you know, those fine liners plus case were like €5, where just buying a decent case would have been like 10. So I was like, well, just buy it. And if the fine liners are any good, then I'll keep them. If not, then I don't know, I could just give them away. But that actually came with like white pens, and I tried them. I think there were 6 of them, and like none of them were working. So that's kind of... that's why I do try to stay away from too cheap. I mean, that's not saying that everything that is like at that really, really low budget is bad, but there is a certain risk. That's not to say that everything that costs a lot of money is by definition good. I mean, it goes both ways. And don't buy something just because it's expensive and thinking, oh, well, that makes it good. Because it doesn't. Alright, now I'm just gonna maybe go back to that blue. I really want to go back to blue. I want to. Right now, these blobs, I keep going around them, but it's just... I'm sorry, blobs. It's funny, because I went around them a few times does probably mean that they will end up looking different. But this is like so fiddly that, you know, there is a certain risk of just bumping into it. Well, bumping over them, rather. Hey. Keep going past that. No, I guess it's awake now. Had a little thing there too. Well, that's gone now. Going into, what is this? Not the one I'm looking for. Pine green. I mean, I do want it to be different from that, so I'm just gonna start with it and see how that goes. Yeah, that's too light. Alright. I mean, time-wise, you know, I feel like I am taking up all this time, but looking at the screen, I'm kind of okay with it, actually. I mean, this is a lot of detail, and for some reason, I want to be piling color onto color onto color in here. So I'm just going to start with this green, and then I'm probably going to top it off with some form of brown, because I mean, it doesn't look... I'm just going to go like this, because, you know, for some reason I will just point at things and forget that it's not on the screen. feel this is easier. It's hard enough to understand, especially if I'm going to go all over the place. I am noticing that, you know, more details. That makes it nice and quiet. Just really want to focus. So actually grab that pine first, but this is like that really dark, that 278. I don't think it goes any darker than that. I mean, there might be sets with even darker ones. Yeah, Castle Art set that I have actually has a decent range of, well, both the greens and the browns. But it's funny because a lot of times in reviews, I do read people go like, there's too many greens or too many browns, and I'm like, wait, that's a bad thing? And it just really depends on what you want to color. And if you want to do portraits, then yeah, I'm not sure if you are really looking for assorted greens. Oh goody, I just looked up into one of my lights and I see weird light flashy blobs. Ooh, blobs. It's really the word. You know, other color and chat, I jokingly said, you know, whenever I say mess it up, I should just turn it into a drinking game. I'm thinking the word blob is taking over. Although if you're not drinking, you could make it a gummy bear game or something. See how nauseous you'll get. Alright. So, you know, this is why I kind of started going into that up and down thing in me right now. I feel like it kind of looks like it's some sort of grass. Alright, I'm just going to go over once again. Because it's more like just a test run to see how these colors are going to react. But I think I'm going to go back to what is this. I could go. This, by the way, is funny because this one is like the same. So they have, I think, I don't know, it's German and English. So the name is the same, which makes sense because it's a name. Although, on the Pablos, apparently, the spelling of the last name, it just changes when you change languages, which I find interesting because I'm pretty sure his name is still the same, not just because it rhymes, but it's a last name that is just what it is. So I'm not sure how they did that. And if anyone could explain that to me, that would be awesome. I mean, I do understand that everyone pronounces it differently. And the way they actually wrote it down on the pencil on the English side. Yep, that is kind of how they pronounce it. I'm struggling with that too, with a lot of things, like pronunciation of things, because you're going back and forth between languages, really. And I mean, a lot of these colors I wouldn't even know how to pronounce in my own language, let alone in English, which is why I'm just sticking to numbers, because I have seen, well, I guess people who are English, have English as their first language, seen those people struggle with the names too, so if they struggle, I'm pretty sure I would struggle even more. Although some things I kind of Google, like, how do I actually say it? But, you know, then you start coloring, start recording, and then you have already forgotten. So you end up mispronouncing things anyways. Although I guess, just for shits and giggles, I mean, this was a Dutch guy. So for anyone who wonders how you would pronounce it, I guess I can definitely help you out there, because that would be Van Dyke. So not Van Dyke. It's not a van. It's not a vehicle. It's... I guess that's kind of like... I think the Germans have like the von version. Like V-O-N. I'm not sure. That might just be random babbling now. I mean, my German isn't exactly good either. It's pretty much non-existent. I tried my best with the pencil. Part 1, that was... I like look back there, it was like, it's awkward. It's cute though, because I try. Which is why I have now come to call on my polys. Because I have tried on pronouncing it the right way, but it's just... As a Dutch person who is talking English and then having to quickly switch between two foreign languages, that's just, I don't know. Why would I do that? But, you know, I will keep calling them Fabrica still, because that's kind of fluent. That's, I guess, one of the fun things about being Dutch. And it's not the same as the Germans would do it, but it is a lot closer than Faber-Castell. They are not Faber-Castell. They really aren't. And I'm pretty sure that's a non-debatable thing, because it's a last name. Again, you know, last names, they don't change spelling when they change language. They just don't. Names don't work like that. Which is why I kind of decide to just find a way around it. That is easy for me, because, you know, it would be kind of weird if I keep skipping between saying it right, saying it wrong, right, wrong. Alright, so, speaking of right, that is definitely the 266. I'm going to do the... Do I want my pencil extender? I want it, but I am too excited. I want to dive straight in. I just want to color. Which basically means I'm not taking time. I mean, I can still use it. It's not comfortable, but I don't know if it's uncomfortable. It's kind of, it's debatable. I mean, I definitely maybe need the extender. I'm so looking forward to that delivery. I mean, it says it's going to be delivered tomorrow, so that will be great. I was actually looking into getting just one other, but I think the last one that I got was like $250 for just one. Now I'm paying like $5 for 20, so it's like, alright, I'll have 20 then. It would just be easier to just, you know, put them in and just leave them like that. Now I only have one, so I have to, you know, get one in, put the other out. It's just too much work, which now results into me just kind of cramping up my hand holding tiny pencils. So that's not good. Don't do that. Although there's probably like nifty art hacks. I do hear people like, you just glue them to the end of another pencil. Like, that is not happening. Also, like, if they are very short, like, this is about as short as my pencils get, and I'm good with that. I mean, I do feel like I can do something creative with them, maybe. I mean, I do want to use them as much as I can, you know, make the most of it, but, you know, at some point, it's just gone. I mean, of course, we can all make our own decision on when we want to stop using a pencil, when we want to replace it, but for me. What's this? Kind of felt lumpy. But, you know, those pages, they do all end up like curling, kind of curl up because of all the, well, pressure you put on the page, I guess. It's just kind of always pulls the corners in, which is so much fun if you're trying to make a nice picture. You take a picture and those corners are there. They're kind of like cheering. They're always pointing up. Cheery corners. Although I think for the last time I just used like washi tape to just sort of keep those corners down. Down corners. Stay down. Behave. But at least I have used washi tape on paper that kind of got attached to the tape. So I was kind of, I don't know, scared is the word. Maybe anxious to try it on the corners of this book just to take a picture. But, well, it ended up okay. Which is not me saying you can use washi tape on these books, because I'm pretty sure not all washi tape is the same. So you might have a version that is more sticky. In which case you might not want to try it. Alright, let's just see if there is like a lighter tone. So I'm just going to use the 170. I mean, it's not going to be an exact match, but it's going to look happy. Which is what I need. I need something happy. Plus, you know, it also kind of brings it all together. It does feel like it's sort of realistic. That's kind of what I like about this as well. I mean, this is definitely cartoony, and then this kind of goes towards realistic. I like that combination. Alright, now the question is, are we going to keep going? Because the last time I kept going, I mean, it did turn out a bit okay. And again, I have no idea how long I should make them. I will in time. Guess I'm just going to have to see if it's going to take too much time, and I think it is. I might just fiddle with that path a bit, but considering that is also, yeah, well, that is different. So I'm just going to add that path to it. I'm going to definitely use the polys. So that 182. Just bump it to my light again. All right, that 182, which again, small. What else do I need? I feel like I need, I missed a letter there. You know, I think I found that out like after I was coloring. This is the green gold or the grand gold, depending on where you look. We all have that. I mean, ivory. Do I still have any ivory lying around? That is right here. All right, so just, I'm thinking maybe just 3 colors. There are some blobs in there, which I'm just gonna, yeah, 283. That's my tiny one. But I feel like there's like little blobbies over there, so I'm just gonna blob that in. I'm not sure where the blobbies are, but blobbies. It's almost like it's like stepstones or whatever. Alright, well, these look blobby, you know. I'll just put that away. And then we had that green gold, which is that right there, I think. So this right here, I feel like this is where that is. And then we are probably gonna go, it's great that I actually have this on screen, but I also am go. Finally have this side on the screen, and then I will completely poof on the other side. Alright, so just up until here, I think. But I do think that this is about as far as I'm going to get today, so I'm just going to probably complete this and then call it a day. Not sure if I'm going to get my package before or after the next part. And I still have editing to do, so I could make it so that it is delivered before I start that new one. Also means I can finally get one of those pencil sharpeners that doesn't require, you know, we'll call it a dust bucket or something. But I don't have to be careful with knocking that over anymore because I'll need it. I mean, I'll still have a bigger, well, trash bin sort of thing to put it in. But wow, that was a lot of rhyming, wasn't it? Huh. Well, that was not what I was looking for, but it might be a good sharpener. I don't know. I just wanted something that I can sort of fiddle with. Not like a basic one. I need something that can be broken. Because that is, I guess, I picked a more intricate one. I have a sharpener with options. So that probably means I can break it pretty quick. Yeah, I know. Mostly I can just figure out how stuff works. I had that with my rotary sharpener as well. I mean, they're not that hard to figure out. I mean, that's the way I felt. Came out of the package, you know how to pull it out, and then how to put a pencil in. It's not too hard either. You know, it's not rocket science. It's not. Alright, so that actually looks kind of good. I mean, that dark bit, I might have to, yeah, I might actually have to add like actual green to it. Like a smudgy green, which is that olive. Just very convincingly. But yeah, I do think that if I start coloring anything else right now, then that's just going to be overkill. So I think this is going to be it for right now. And then for the next time, I do believe that, you know, we should get the rest of that suggestive stuff kind of out of the way. Maybe in the leaves as well, because that's going to be hard because we have to add like these lighter areas and these darker areas. But, I mean, that side I'm going to have to do. And then maybe what this look like, the pink flowers. So yeah, I am thinking that for the next part we will be working on, well, bringing ourselves further down from that valley. I mean, this, I feel, looks good. Yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like I could maybe add a little bit of definition to that, but that is really about as much as I'm going to change, because I actually feel kind of good about what I have so far. So yeah, for the next time, I am thinking just going into that, because we still kind of need the same colors that we used. Well, green and the browns, and mostly this side. I mean, not that, because this was already very different from that. This is more lively, because it is on the reference. There's just more life to that part. This is more green and things that kind of look like flowers, but are they? So, you know, For me, that means I could just leave my pencils out. For anyone who is maybe coloring along, it means just write them down. Or, I mean, I will be naming them the next time I use them. For now, this is definitely it. I mean, I do feel like it's starting to look good. We are getting to the fun part, because that is kind of, I mean, looking at the entire thing, I mean, there's just so much fun going on here in the front. We just started at that boring back, which is good, because that, I mean, you gotta save the best for last. I mean, now we have all this to look forward to. I usually feel like if I do it the other way around, then I had all these fun stuff first, all these things that I was really looking forward to, because this is really where I want to be. I want to be coloring those dwarves and the flowers, and that is really what I want to be doing. But, I'm kind of fearful that if I do that, at some point, I'm gonna have all that done, and, then I go up to the grass, and then I would have had that beam and all of that maybe for last. And I mean, now we are moving towards the fun and bright colors. I mean, I guess that also is like a personal preference. So, everyone might look at that differently, but I feel like we're now kind of going from the dull, realistic part to fun and flowers and dwarves and diamonds. So I guess that's why I'm having more and more fun, because I'm closing into what I actually want to color. Anyways, I mean, for now, that is already a whole lot of rambling. Although luckily I have been quiet at times when coloring, because it really requires focus. So next time, we'll be working on that hill and maybe a little bit of the details inside the tree. Like just that background when the light comes through. Because I feel like that might still be in the same sort of color range, but I'm not sure. Either way, we'll be working on that side. So if you like the video, make sure to click that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know when the next part's ready. So for now, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good one.